I took up fishing when I came back here. Hadn't cast a line out in years. Well, you wouldn't, not in the city. It's like riding a bike, though. Never leaves you. Took the edge off my weekly food bill. Until all the fish started dying, that is. Always said they were selfish. Everyone else thinks it's the nearby waste disposal plant, but I'm not sure. Something in my bones says otherwise. Or maybe I'm just ahead of my time. I've always loved technology. Toys and gadgets when I was a kid, TV and radio, even my trusty metal detector. Only thing I have now. Reliable as ever. Well, reliably erratic. Still nothing a well-placed thump can't fix. Bit of a dab hand if I say so myself. So yeah, this is my life now. No big city, no job, just me, Sandesan, a metal detector, and whatever loose change is buried beneath the dirt. Still it keeps me going, even when the mist draws in. More to life than money, but these coins are pretty. That was quite the haul. Not found that many coins in one place since, well, ever. I should make a note to come back here. Still, that should last me a while, pay off some debts. If only every day was like this. Come on, lad. That mist's getting heavier. We should get back before... Yeah. I keep forgetting you're not there anymore. Feels wrong without you here by my side. Miss you, Tris. First sign of madness. Get out and snap out of it. You've got to get back before you lose sight of the road completely. Mist. There. Listen to her purr now, Doctor. Good as new. Great! I never meant to end up here. I used to be a lecturer of all things, teaching students the classics down in Cardiff. Then things happened. And so here I am, down on my luck back home. That's if I can really call it home anymore. So much has changed. Llanddeusant, such a beautiful, gentle area, not far from Llyn van Fach. You can look out across these hills and it's like they're untouched by time. Perhaps it's not the places that change, but the people who come back to them. Ever since what happened to Delith. Still, no point dwelling on the past. Got to make the most of the present and embrace whatever the future has in store, for better or worse. You'll have to excuse the locals. People like to keep themselves to themselves round here. It's just their way. They don't like talking to strangers, so, you know, try not to take it personally if they're a little bit wary. See? Good things can happen. Oh, sweetest of blackbirds, come listen. Nay, bird of dark colour, give ear. Wilt thou hence as my messenger hasten to the maid of all maidens most dear? And tell her whose form of soft whiteness outdazzles the wind-riven snow, whose face dims the April dawn's brightness, that without her I perishing go. Counsel in the view of death. Leave your land, your goods lay down. Life's green tree shall soon grow brown. Pride of birth and pleasure gay, renounce or they shall own you. Manly strength and beauty fair, dear bought sense, experience rare, learning ripe, companions fond, yield lest their bond ensnare you. Travellers by sea and land, on remotest mount or strand, have ye found one secret spot where death is not commanding? Learned scholar, jurist proud, lifted godlike o'er the crowd, can your keenest counsels aid, dispel death's shade enshrouding? Sorry about all that. Like I said, they're a little bit wary of strangers round here. They were the same with me when I came back, and I grew up here. Still, at least now you're here and we can be outsiders together. Cheers. It's funny, you remind me a lot of my sister Delith. Not that you look like her, you don't, but there's something about you, a kindness of spirit that puts me in mind of her. It's nice to think that sort of spirit lives on in others. She went missing last year, you see. It was back when she was living in Cardiff. She'd moved there to be closer to her big brother. Not that we were in each other's pockets. We maybe saw each other 2 or 3 times a month. But she'd always phoned to keep tabs on me. That's how I heard what happened to her. Hello?
Hi, it's only me. How are things with you?
It was like any other phone call at first. She asked how work was going, if I was seeing anyone, whether I'd be heading home for Christmas. Then her tone changed. She seemed upset about something.
Do you ever miss home?
Not really. Why? Do you?
I don't know. Oh, don't get me wrong. I like Cardiff. It's great. There's more to do, but sometimes it sounds silly.
What?
Sometimes I feel like, I don't know how to put it. Like there's something else going on here. I've heard stories.
Stories?
About ghosts in Butte Town or monsters down the docks. People think there's something going on here.
What's that?
Nothing. I'm in a phone box. You'll have to wait your turn. Oh no!
Delith, what is it? What's wrong?
What? Stay away. Stay away from me! I thought it was a joke at first. She'd started talking about monsters and ghosts, then this happened. I mean, it had to be a joke. Only then I didn't hear from her.
She used to call every day, but a few days passed and... I went to her home, but no one had seen her. It was like she'd just vanished. I heard stories just like she had about a rift, something that brought monsters into Cardiff. That's when I came back here. I couldn't stay there. Not without her. So I resigned from my job at the university, packed my bags and returned to my roots for all the good it's done me. I just wish I could have done something, anything. But I guess we all look back and wish we could change things. You never know what you find in your pockets. See? Good things can happen. It all started about a month ago, no one knows why. There were no signs, no warning. Things just started dying. At first, it was just fish in Llyn We found them floating on the surface. A few days later, people found rats in their gardens. Then birds, chickens, rabbits, even household pets. Whatever happens, it happens at midnight. We hear the animals in the fields, lambs bleating, pigs grunting, growing more and more agitated as the night draws in. Then, the clock strikes 12, and a dread silence falls across the valley. It's like they know what's coming. And then they stop. A little bird in bush am I, hard by a graveyard gloomy, too weak of wing therefrom to fly o'er mead or meadow bloomy. All strains of dance and song are sped here where the dead lie sleeping. No sound doth pass their grassy bound, no sound but my sad weeping. Nay, I'm a shell on life's lone shore. Come on, Trace, there's a good boy. Let's see what we can find today, eh? I used to set out with Tristan every morning, detector in hand, to see what we might find. It's true what they say about dogs, you know, man's best friend. And after everything that happened with Delith, well, Tris was just what I needed to take my mind off things. We'd go metal detecting together. Happier times. Me and you forever, old boy. Of course, it could never last. The night before last. I heard him howling just before midnight. I went downstairs to check on him. Then when the clock struck 12, well, let's just say I was alone again. Alone. In the dark. Not a friend in the world. Arriving back at the lake, these creatures, the Ogrons, were already ahead of us. They grunted instructions to one another, clumsily falling into line. Even to a novice like me, they hardly seemed the most successful alien invasion force. But the Doctor considered them a threat, and who was I to argue? He was, after all, an alien just like them. We hid in the bushes, observing. Then Rose noticed someone else was out there too. A woman stood by the water's edge, glowing faintly green beneath the moonlight. We watched as the woman withdrew into the water, disappearing from sight beneath the ripples. It was then we knew for sure she wasn't human. There were no signs of distress, nor did she struggle to breathe. It was almost like she belonged there. The same, however, could not be said of the Ogron creatures. One of them tried to follow her, splashing through the waves, oblivious to what threat the water posed. Maybe it didn't realize what she was. Nevertheless, it pursued her, thrashing as it ducked beneath the water, fighting for air, and a few seconds later, its body bobbed to the surface, floating lifelessly. The other Ogrons quickly realized what had happened and decided they wouldn't follow. In fact, they did quite the opposite. Great! Return to Llanavanfach. That's what the orders had told them, and the Doctor finally realised where he was. Which is odd, really. I'm not quite sure how he didn't know, but then that's typical of the English. One valley looks the same as the other. Anyway, it was clear that Rose didn't know the stories of Llanavanfach, so between us, the Doctor and I tried to bring her up to speed. It centred on a young man, as such stories so often do, who met the lady of the lake and wanted to marry her. Together, they lived a happy life. They had children and loved one another. And whilst their marriage did not quite work out as planned, their children grew to become doctors who tended the land and its sick. Some believe they were the physicians of Mudvai. But such legends are never meant to be taken seriously. Not unless you're the Doctor. All of a sudden, he seemed fixated on the story, the idea of the lady and her children, doctors spreading out across the country, healing the sick and injured. Perhaps there was some truth in it after all. Maybe now something had gone wrong, and instead of making things better, things were dying. "We need to get to the TARDIS," he cried. So Rose and I followed. Of course, when the Doctor had said that, I had no idea where or what a TARDIS was, and when we arrived there, I was even less sure. On the outside, it looked like an everyday common or garden police box, the kind you used to see on every street, at least in the city. But when we stepped inside, well, I can't describe it other than to say it was impossible. The atmosphere within, it felt alive, buzzing with a warm, friendly energy. The size of it, the room was like a cathedral, constructed from some kind of coral struts and metal. It was strange, yet somehow familiar, as if it knew you the moment you entered it. The doctor, already accustomed to all this, quickly started work at what looked like a central processing hub. Great! The doctor didn't waste any time now. He ran back inside the TARDIS and pulled out some futuristic diving apparatus. He quickly put it on over his suit, checked the mask and air tanks, then tested the radio. It works both ways, he told us, showing me how it worked, so keep in touch. Oh, and look after each other. He smiled as he walked into the lake, slowly vanishing from view beneath the surface. Great! The water was cold, colder than I ever expected, and I knew I didn't have long. But I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. Not after what had happened to Delith. This time, I had a chance to make a difference, and I wasn't going to waste that. I could hear her voice in my head, willing me on.
Save him, Geraint. Save the doctor.
deeper I went, however, the harder it became for me to move. I became sluggish and started to panic, and I realized all the coins I'd found that morning were weighing me down more. I knew what had to be done. I couldn't miss out on the chance to see a ship from another world, so together we swam to the bottom of the lake, sharing the doctor's air until we arrived at an overgrown, sprawling structure that looked unlike anything I'd ever imagined. Once we'd hacked the code to grant us access, we stepped inside the airlock and entered the ship. It wasn't quite what I'd expected. Instead of banks of bright white lights and gleaming metal, the walls and floors were soft, almost like they'd been grown, and everything was bathed in a dull, almost phosphorescent light. The doctor said he'd seen something like this before. There are races out there, he told me. Alien species that use a different kind of technology from the rest of the universe. There was once a world where animal and vegetable coexisted in perfect harmony. So instead of computers and microchips, they grew whatever they needed. Some civilizations use organic matter here and there. The Time Lords grew TARDISes. You lot, it's all powering clocks with potatoes, but the principle's the same. One world harnessed vegetation to flourish, which meant all their technology kept on growing and evolving. They developed everything from medicine to space travel, all through coexistence. They gave to their world, and their world gave back. And its people developed significant powers of healing as a result. And you think this ship is like that? I asked. I reckon so, yes, he nodded. Because then the Time War struck, and the natives had no choice but to defend themselves. All their powers of healing were directed towards their own, saving the lives of casualties caught up in the fighting, but the Time War took no prisoners. Even the hospitals were targeted. The doctor appeared haunted by the memory. Some of them would have survived, he said. They always do. And they'd have looked to find somewhere safe, another world, far from their own, hoping for a second chance. Maybe even a better life. As they tried to flee their worlds, the Daleks would shoot down any survivors. They were merciless. Even escape wasn't a victory. The doctor sounded like he was talking from experience. They would have known that their technology would be useful. An independent, conscious technology that never stops growing. Technology that promotes healing at a time of war. Well, it goes without saying how that could be exploited and... Of course! The doctor smacked a palm against his forehead, suddenly realizing. That's why the Ogrons are here. Mercenaries for hire, searching the galaxy for technology that could give the wrong people an advantage in the quest for universal domination. They have to be stopped! In her natural environment, the lady appeared even more serene than she had on the shore. She glided effortlessly about her business, glowing ever brighter as she worked. I couldn't resist. I had to ask her what she was doing there.
I am the sole survivor of this vessel. I have resided here for centuries, monitoring the development of your world, just as I do so now. I had hoped this world might sustain us, but now, this is the end.
What do you mean? The end?
When we first landed here, this world appeared ideal. It was still new, a fledgling planet full of potential. We were able to exist and hide from the war beyond. But recent developments have caused an imbalance. This planet is getting hotter, more polluted, and your technology is damaging ours. The systems aboard this ship once promoted life, but now they have been corrupted. I have tried my best to temper them, but the process is irreversible.
I don't understand. What's irreversible?
Life on Earth. This vessel's healing projections have now been reversed. They are expanding outwards, bringing with them nothing but sickness, decay. These waves are expanding outwards. As they grow stronger, they will affect all animal life on this planet, spreading its influence wider and wider. Only when all animal life is dead can it reset itself.
No. No, you can't let that happen.
But it is already happening.
Then stop it. Otherwise, the entire town, this whole planet, everyone will die.
Life essence increasing.
The doctor threw his head back and screamed, trying his best to resist, but the process was tearing his life force to ribbons. Even in the gloom, I could see shafts of orange light starting to flow from his body. I begged the lady to help him. "You have to do something. Please."
I am sorry, but there is nothing that I can do. The process must complete before it can shut down. And an organic mainframe requires organic components. This cannot finish until the doctor's life has ended.
But... no. There might not be anything you can do, but I can. I heard Dalith's voice in my head again, just as I had before, urging me to make a difference, to save the doctor. In just one day, he had already shown me so many incredible things on a world I'd all but given up on, a world I now had to save. I pulled him away from the mainframe and forced myself into the ship's organic systems. I faintly heard him catch his breath, plead with me to get out, but I'd made my decision, and I could feel the ship's computer in my mind. It felt as though it was years, but it could only have been minutes. The ship's mainframe flooded my mind. Suddenly, I could understand the universe. I saw creatures I'd never encountered, living on worlds I'd never been to, each one every bit as remarkable as the creatures living on Earth. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw the woman. She smiled at me.
I had to watch as my world died. And I am glad that you won't see yours die. I have nothing else left to me now. And I sense we both want peace. So please, let me stay with you at the end. We can be alone, together, and this planet is saved. What do I have to do? The systems have long since stabilized. All that is left to be done is to overload the systems. Let the ship go. Do it for me. You will come and fight me, won't you?
I could feel the water rising around me, but also that the ship was at peace. O thou land of song! Boundless are the Saxon's treasures, meat and wine to all he measures, but 1,000 times more pleasures. Thrill the land of song. Far from her what heart can lighten, far from her what face can brighten, furrows deepen, tresses whiten. Misers all regard their gold, and maids their lovers pleading, souls humane their stricken brothers, helpless babes their blessed mothers. Thee I love beyond all others, thou dear land of song.